Hey everybody, I've got some news for you here. Take a look at the screen. Look what we got going on here. We've got the department head of geosciences at Colorado State University, the adjunct professor of geophysics at New Mexico Tech, and this guy his name is Rick Aster, and he said that I am a scam and do not support my fundraiser. And he posted it on my fundraiser. Look! Here's the guy has left a message on my fundraiser accusing me of scamming. Now, look, Rick Aster. Look, Rick Aster. Look, here's what he said. This is a scam. Do not support. Now, look. I mean, Rick Aster, you just stepped in it. You just stepped in it big time. I'm putting your stuff out to the world. We're going to share your page right now. And we're sharing it over to my live stream where this guy, the head of geosciences, another professor. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. He really screwed up this time. He needs to look what happened to John Vidali. And what had to happen, what John Vidali had to do. He wants to accuse... Oh, I sent him a message, guys. I sent him a message. I sent him a personal message where, here, let me open it up here. Here's what I just said to him. I just sent him, I've never talked to this guy before. I don't see how he could say one way or the other. He's never reviewed the information. I said, you denying earthquake forecasting? Are you saying I'm just getting lucky over and over again? If you're going to falsely accuse me of scamming and publicly tell people not to give, how could you know if you've never talked to me before? I'd like to see your proof backing up your false accusations. Ironically, you're the one collecting a check to promote dogmas which I'm debunking, one by one. Rick Aster, department head of geosciences at Colorado State University, falsely accusing me of being a scam? I'm here every damn day, Rick Aster. I'm here 24 hours a day. I accurately predict forecasting for seismic events. Your best explanation is that I'm getting lucky over and over again, and that was according to the head of geophysics from the University of Washington State, Professor John Vidali, who took to CBS News and smeared me, and we got the story removed. And Professor John Vidali learned a valuable lesson in social sciences. That's right, social media sciences. And Rick Aster, you're about to learn the same lesson that John Vidali had to learn. You want to come over here onto my fundraiser page and accuse me of being a scam? Well, I'd like to raise a few questions about the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network raising $8 million of public funding money to give a fake 2-second warning that came in 4 seconds too late. And we'd like to address Professor John Vidali and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network seeking money so that they can give warnings to private corporations who are financing them with donations. Speaking of scams, I'd like to understand how Rick Aster can sit there and collect a paycheck from the University of Colorado while the largest earthquakes are striking Colorado at the fracking operations that the university denied were causing earthquakes. Rick Aster. Hey, Rick Aster, I'm curious how it is that the largest earthquake that struck out in Colorado in 2011 was denied by your geosciences department. Hey, Rick Aster, you know I used to live out in Denver, don't you? Hey, Rick Aster, you got a problem? Hey, Rick Aster, never talked to you before. You're going to publicly accuse me of a scam? Let's see your proof. What's your proof? Back it up, bitch. Let's hear it. And I can say that because I'm not a professional, and I don't ever want... If this is what the people are doing on the inside, the Professor John Vidali's and Professor Rick Aster, if this is how they roll, isn't it any wonder that they're the paid pets of the industry? collecting huge amounts of money from the government to promote a lie? Oh, Rick Aster, are you denying earthquakes can be forecast? Did I just get lucky with the 5.5 off the coast a couple days ago, or the 5.6 over in Oklahoma yesterday? Did I just get lucky? Is that luck? Back-to-back 5.6s? These are all my theories, Rick Aster, while you're busy promoting textbook BS, which I'm ripping whole sections out of the book you're teaching from, Rick. We are taking whole sections out, ripping it out, and replacing it with real science. Not old dogmas that you learned from some other idiot who said it wasn't possible, but actually proving that you guys were wrong. Rick, look, your geosciences department led Colorado down a path of environmental disaster. 3 people are dead, Rick, because of you guys. Out in Colorado, out in Colbrand, Colorado, 2 years ago, there was a giant fracking operation that blew, and it was a CO2 sequestration operation, Rick Aster, Professor Rick Aster. A CO2 sequestration site at oil wells where there's large amounts of liquid pressurized sand already down in underneath this area. And you guys actually authorized, and this is through the state, authorized the injection of liquid CO2 down into this operation. And guess what? Incoming pressure comes into the operation and small earthquakes start to hit. So they dispatched a guy who works out there with his partner, and he took his son. And they went up just to go check really quick to see what the problem was. And when they got up to the top of the whole operation and they did a few checks on a few wells, all of a sudden, a massive rupture occurred. The whole mountainside blew up. Liquid CO2 came out with 5 miles worth of rock and sand and flowed over the fracking operation. And you idiots denied that it was related to the fracking operation at the Geosciences Department at the University of Colorado. Doesn't that mean, with your ignorance, that you're technically responsible for the deaths of at least 3 people, Rick? At least indirectly. I mean, you might not have personally signed off on that BS, but you want to call this a scam? Well, I'm calling you out. And we're going to take up your time at the university, not just in private. You want to take up my time and cut into my bottom dollar? Well, guess what we're going to do to you? We're going to take up your time and cut into your bottom dollar. And it's justified because I'm just responding. I had never heard of you before today. You want to come over to my fundraiser and leave a comment on the fundraiser accusing me of being a scammer? Now, come on, man. Now, I'm going to leave this comment up until you get creamed. Then I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to push my fundraiser even more and let everybody know that the lead geologist at the state that denied fracking earthquakes is denying me. Well, guess what? Is it any wonder you morons are denying? No wonder you got a problem out there. Look. No wonder you've got a problem, Rick Aster, out in Colorado with fracking earthquakes. Because you idiots denied it. I'm the only one who pushed it. And now here you all are, on the bandwagon, finally admitting, well, Rick Aster must be having a bad Sunday because he doesn't want me to make any money. Can't have Dutch Sense making any money. This is a scam. Prove it, bitch. Let's see your evidence. And I want to hear your explanations for how I hit the areas over and over again. And don't just say I name random areas. Don't just say I'm getting lucky. We already got into that with the lead professor from the University of Washington State, the medal recipient from the American Geophysical Union, and schooled him and sent him packing. And his best response was an ad hominem attack on CBS News. So, Rick Aster, one more time. Here is the link to Rick Aster's page. And Rick Aster is going to wish he never had left a unprovable ad hominem attack on my fundraiser. You want to put it on your page, Rick? Fine. You want to come to my fundraiser and say something? Bro, you just picked a fight you can't win. You're about to learn a lesson of online social media where a guy who has nothing to lose, nothing, who's already being harassed and censored by multiple governmental organizations, proved. And Rick Aster wants to step in. Well, bro, you just stepped into the deepest shit you've ever stepped into in a long time. Here's the link one more time. Give him hell. And I'll be back. Much love, guys. I want to thank everybody who's been part of the fundraiser. Don't mistake my anger at seeing that kind of comment left on my fundraiser. You know, again, you know how rude that is? Imagine if I went over to the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network and destroyed their fundraiser. Try and stop everybody from giving. Rick Aster, who the hell do you think? Bro, let me tell you what, Rick. With that kind of false accusation in real life, do you know what that constitutes, bro? I mean, you better have some good proof on it being a scam that I'm not going to use it for what I say I'm going to use it for. You got proof on that? I'm using it for my operations. I'm using it for what I do. I'm using it just to report on earthquakes. Is that a scam? Are you saying the earthquakes aren't happening, Rick? Are you denying that the earthquakes are happening? Or are you denying earthquake forecasts? Which is it? Because I'm raising money for both. To be here every day just to report on earthquakes, and as a byproduct of that, my forecasting is done. I'm not charging for that. That's going to get done whether or not I make 1 cent. This is to offset the censorship from being shut down so many times, Rick Aster, and from being attacked by professionals, Rick Aster. You'd almost think that I matter. Here I am, just a guy on my own on YouTube, and here they are, the credentialed professors from the lead institutions in Colorado, Washington State, and they're all so concerned about me? And I've fought each one of them over the last 7 years. Remember Professor Cliff Froelich from Texas, guys? Remember this? Remember back in 2011 when the 5.6 hit Oklahoma back in 2011? And here comes Professor Cliff Froelich to deny that fracking causes earthquakes, and to deny that fracking can lead up to anything above a 2.0 earthquake. Oh, extremely rare and minor. Fracking doesn't cause earthquakes. Conspiracy theorist online is what he said. And then the 5.6 hit. And then Cliff Froelich had to go tuck tail, run. I made videos calling him out, making fun of him. And now Cliff Froelich is the premier fracking researcher down in the South from the University of Texas. He flipped his switch. He flip-flopped. He went right into it and said, I'm going to go study this. So, here we are, Rick Aster. You got a lesson to learn, bro. And the first lesson you got to learn is that it's not okay to go to a fundraiser of somebody you disagree with and publicly accuse them of something you can't back up. That it's a scam. No, it's not. It's to support my operations. Now, you might not agree with my findings. Why don't you say that? What don't you agree with, Rick? You think it's impossible to forecast an earthquake? I can prove that wrong. Go watch my How to Forecast an Earthquake video, or unless you're going to deny an hour's worth of content. Oh, surely none of that can be true either, right, Rick? Funny, I haven't heard of you before today, Rick. Hey, Rick. 3 people are dead in Colorado from a fracking operation. And you got priorities? Where's your attack on the Colbrand gas system for causing 3 deaths last year, 2 years ago? Hey, Rick. Speaking of being a scam, how about the cover story that was created for that big gas explosion, killing 3 people? Hey, Rick, doesn't that mean that there's a scam going on in Colorado where people are getting paid by the oil companies to come up with BS stories associated with the geophysics department at the University of Colorado? Hey, Rick, you involved with that? I'm just asking. I mean, these are questions I'm not declaring you are. I'm asking publicly, are you involved with that? You got any ties to the oil company? You ever received 1 dime from the oil company ever? How about from the state? How about you having to solicit money from the state for your state university? Where are you getting that financing, Rick? To be an adjunct professor, you know you do have to raise money for the university, right? How do you do that, Rick? Do you raise money for the university from oil companies, Rick? I know how the game works, Rick. I know about how you have to receive funding for your university to maintain your professor statusship. How you're just nothing more than a money-raising arm of the university for these institutions, Rick. So, Rick Aster wants to come over and slam my fundraiser, the lead professor from the University of Colorado. Well, Colorado, how ironic. Don't you got a big old mess there to be cleaning up, Rick. Big old mess. Let's not forget the huge fracking operation that blew in southwest Colorado and flowed down into New Mexico. You guys tried to blame that on a mine? You remember that, Rick? Trying to blame it on a mine, and really it's a blown fracking op with wastewater coming out. Come on. Come on, injection water, not a mine collapse, Rick. That's wastewater from the fracking operations. Doesn't that mean somebody there's lying, Rick? And Rick, we wouldn't be talking about you, Rick, if you hadn't come over to my fundraiser and accused me of being a scam artist. So, deal with it. I don't want to hear any complaints when your university page gets just blown up, and when your email gets filled up and your private pages get filled up. I'm not going to feel bad for you, man. I don't. I don't. If you want to come attack my stuff, you are going to get the horns back, and I have nothing to lose. What are you, Rick? The internet police? You here to police the internet, Rick? Tell everybody what to do, what not to give, falsely accuse people to get your way? Hey, Rick, what would you do, Rick, if I falsely accused you of something that cost your job? Or caused you to lose your paycheck, Rick? Would you freak out? I think you would. You'd probably try to come after me, but I ain't got anything for you to come after. And if you do try to come after me or try to stop my fundraiser, well, that's trying to cause me financial harm to a guy you've never met or talked to. That's slander. So, anyways, just thought you guys would like to get a kick out of that here's another professor, this one from Colorado, and man, he picked a fight he can't win. I've got all the information on the Colorado frack ops, the people that got killed. He does not want to go. The Greeley. How about up in Greeley, Rick? How about the cover up there? Yeah. All right.